Hi and welcome. Welcome back if you are returning, and welcome if you are new to my channel. My name is L'Oreal Harrison, and welcome to this sacred space that gets created each and every time we choose to come together as one to discuss topics of mind, body, soul, self mastery. So let's clap it up first for you. Let's celebrate the fact that you are here, that you found your way to my channel, to my content, and that you are on your own spiritual path and journey of self-discovery, of self-inquiry, of expansion of your mind, body, and soul. And you bring that all into alignment, you bring that all into balance, and consciously create your own greatest joy in this now moment. So, I know that was kind of like a mouthful, right? But long story short, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that I am appreciative of you and you being here and you being willing to open and expand your mind, open and expand your thoughts and your belief system to start entertaining new and more expansive ideas having to do with your mind, body, and soul. Today's topic of discussion is going to be all about the ego. Oftentimes in spirituality, we hear about this ego and it's like this negative force that takes over and we are sometimes we'll badmouth it, like it's like a bad boyfriend or a bad girlfriend or just one of those friends that you're not really sure if they're your friend or your enemy, but you're still friends with them, and it's just like really awkward situation. Well, a lot of times how I like to approach spiritual development and spirituality and all of these really high level concepts is to take them down and really simplify them so that we can integrate them on an everyday level. Basically, there's no use in grabbing and grasping all of these high level concepts and consciousness if you can't integrate it into your now moment. So each one of us is here in a human form. Each one of us is here on the earth, and we are here to have a human experience. And because for whatever reason you and I decided that we chose to have this experience right now, it's our privilege and our opportunity to make it the very best that we can. So by taking all of these really high concept and expansive ideas and really bringing them into harmony and bringing them into balance and really grounding them into practicality, that allows us to make proper sense of them so that we can integrate them into our everyday life or everyday awareness. Because when our spiritual body is so far ahead of our physical body and our mental body, it creates this disharmony between the mind and the body and the soul. So when our mind, body, and soul is out of alignment, even if one of those things is out of alignment, it creates this kind of like a ricochet effect throughout our life experiences that are indicating that something's a little off. I found personally that it's super important and beneficial to work on those three levels, that trinity of the mind, the body, and the soul, and the importance of looking at yourself as that even though we are an infinite soul, we are operating within a physical body, a physical form. That is our earth ship, if you want to call it that, our vessel for this experience, how we can navigate it and interact and process through our emotions and everything else that has to do with the joys of being a human. And then we have that mental body as well. And you might be saying, okay, so where does the ego go into all of this? Well, back to what we were talking about, the ego, that you may have heard that the ego is this really bad thing, this really bad quality about that we all have, and we just need to suppress it, or we need to shut it up, or we need to get rid of it, and it's all about cutting loose of the ego and saying bye-bye to it. But I'm here to share the perspective that perhaps the ego is not the sworn enemy or an enemy in disguise. Perhaps the ego really has good intentions, and perhaps, just perhaps, our ego is really for us. And the reason why we have an ego is because it's able to give us that contrast that allows us to be able to observe our actions, our thoughts, our beliefs, and then it allows us to utilize our free will choice on what we want to decide to do within our life. So I would like to share a little bit of a very simplified concept or understanding of what I like to refer to the ego as. So whenever I attempt to explain what the ego is like to me, it is like an overbearing parent. And I know that you would say, like, what? That sounds so kind of far out there. Okay, but just follow me. My perspective of the ego is that it is like an overbearing parent. And you are like this teenager in full blossom that wants to expand and go with change and try new things and try things that are in alignment with what you feel is your greatest joy, what you feel is your path to happiness, and to just really following your authentic self. And that is the journey that you are currently on. That is called your life experiences. We're all here figuring things out. We're all here collecting our data, if you will, through our life experiences. And what the ego is doing is it is like an overbearing parent that is saying, you know what, son, daughter, I love you. I love you. And because I love you so much, I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want anything to happen to you. I want to take such good care of you. You see, the ego has good intentions. It's not out to sabotage us. It is really has good intentions to be for our highest good. But however, much like an overbearing parent would shelter their child and say, I don't want you to do this, you might get hurt, or you can't go here without me because I'm not sure, or you've never tried that before, I don't think that you'll be able to do it. Much like this certain characteristics of an overbearing parent. What are the qualities of an overbearing parent? It is such an intense amount of love for the child. But what it is with overbearing parents is they have somewhat of a skewed perspective that creates a disbalance in their trust and belief in the fact that their child will be okay. In this case, the ego, being like an overbearing parent, is hyper monitoring your consciousness, is hyper monitoring your consciousness, saying, whoa, the last time we did this happened, or you know what, that's something new. I can't really predict exactly how that's going to go. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Let's go the route that we've been before. Let's go the way that our neural pathways, let's go the way that our map has already been charted within our brain, within our psyche, that says that this one was a pleasurable experience. But perhaps you don't want to go that route anymore. Perhaps you don't want to make those same decisions, and you're ready to expand your consciousness into another way. Well, the ego is still going to be there, like much like an overbearing parent, and saying, I don't know if you're ready for this yet. I don't know if you're ready to move out of the house. I don't know if you're ready to go out on this adventure of life on your own. And you're like that freshly turned 18-year-old who is just moving out of the house and explaining to their parents that you got this under control, that you understand that you are now an adult. You are now expanding your consciousness. You are now making adult decisions, free will choices in this instance, and that the parent just needs to back off and let you be. Well, there's two ways that you could go about that. You could yell and scream at the parent and disown them and tell them that you don't ever want to talk to them again. Or you can lovingly, compassionately say to the parent, look, mom, look, dad, I love you. And I understand that you love me too. And it's only because you love me that you are doing your best of what you feel is protecting me. However, I have to be able to expand and utilize my free will to do what it is that feels right with me, that resonates with me, what it is that my intuition, that my internal guidance is telling me I am prepared to do. I am prepared to move on to this level of awareness, this level of mindfulness, this level of consciousness, this level of operating within my life. And in that act, that overbearing parent or ego, it is needing to face integration. It's needing to have its rough edges just smoothed out so that the ego is no longer an overbearing parent, but because you stood up in your free will, your sovereign free will to the ego, and in a loving, compassionate, neutral way, you said, I understand, I love you, and I'm grateful for you, ego. And I understand that you only want the best for me. However, now I am going to allow myself to empower the wisdom within my soul, within my spirit. I'm going to allow that to be the front runner of my consciousness and expand me. Allow me to expand my consciousness. And it's not to say, ego, that I won't need you, that I can't benefit from you, and that I appreciate the contrast that you provide for me. I appreciate the other perspective, but that is one limited perspective. And because I am looking now to expand my perspective, I want to tap into that level of subconscious gnosis within myself. And because I know that you need to be lovingly and compassionately integrated into me, into my entire consciousness, to make my consciousness a complete whole. So now you know, ego, now you know, overbearing parent, that I'm going to be okay. That I'm growing up, that I'm an adult now in this instance, in this story that we're utilizing for the comparison of the ego. Again, that ego is like that overbearing parent that is having this relationship with their child that has just turned into an adult and is maturing in all forms, in all areas of their life. And that when this once child becomes an adult, they can allow themselves to see the ego, to witness the ego, and to look upon the ego and see that it was only trying its very best to love that child, to show compassion, to protect that child. And it was only there like a bumper, like a safe rail, to keep this child who had not yet matured enough in their consciousness, who was not able to expand their consciousness enough for themselves yet, keeping them safe until there came a time that they were able to say, thank you, but I got this now. And that does not mean that I don't need you, want you, or love you, ego. How about you come along with me for the ride? How about we become one whole supportive unit? And then that ego is integrated into your conscious mind in a loving and compassionate way. Now that ego doesn't have to be sending all these fear thoughts, these limiting beliefs, these bad forecasts of the future events that might happen terribly, but haven't even happened yet, so they could turn out absolutely amazing. So now the ego isn't holding you back anymore from your limitless potential. It's now saying, okay, we're going to work on this together and be integrated. Then now you become that sovereign being. You become the integration of the unconscious mind and the conscious mind, and you merging those two together. Now you have basically that that balance, that balanced field within your frame of mind, within your operating of your everyday life. So when you look upon the ego like it was that overbearing parent that loved you, that just needed to hear compassionately from its child that now became an adult that, hey, I got this. So you just tell the ego, I got this now. I love you. I honor you. I thank you. But now I'm going to integrate all parts of myself, and I'm going to make conscious decisions for myself, not based out of limitations, not based out of fear, not based out of overprotection that something might happen negative, but really allowing yourself to be present. And that brings all of your awareness with you here to this now moment, so that you can make the very best educated decision for yourself, that you can flow with that ebb and flow of life, that you can ride the waves of life, those highs and those lows, and be able to know that all is happening for you. Your ego is not the bad guy. Your ego just is waiting for you to stand up to it and acknowledge it, thank it, and show gratitude for it, and then say, come on and join the team. Come on and get integrated. You played your role. You allowed me to come into my adulthood, and now it's time to operate as a conscious creator being. And that doesn't mean that your life is going to be perfect, but that does mean that now you are in control, that now you are working with more of your abilities to be able to consciously create your life. You're not working with so much programming, you're not working with such limitations. And every moment that you do that, every moment that you enter into the present, that you acknowledge that your ego, it can be a benefactor that can be working for you, an asset to your conscious squad, that's when you can begin to shift your life in a rapid manner for the positive. That's when you begin to align with your authentic self and start saying, what makes me happy? What makes my heart sing? What makes me so excited about life? And those are the things that you're going to be able to do. Those are the things that you're going to set up your life path, your life experiences for. To consciously create in this now moment your greatest joy, because you deserve it and you have the ability to go out and get it. We all do. But it takes a little bit of consciousness, it takes a little awareness, it takes a lot of mindfulness practices, and a ton of patience, love, and compassion for your limitless self. So I honor and thank you for joining me for this video today. And it was, again, another perspective on what the ego is and how we can really shift our perspectives on it so that it doesn't have to play the role of the bad guy, and we can integrate it as knowing that it is a part of the whole. It is a part of the one that is our very self. So again, I leave you now with much love and blessings. Until next time for another one of our self-mastery teachings. Peace.